And Mike Milbury joins us on the Harbor One Hotline. Fill-in show today, Coach. You got Ken Laird, Rob Bradford, Chris Scheim, and Jackson here. But we appreciate it as always. How are you?
Well, I'm good, thanks. I'm looking forward to Christmas, but I'm not looking forward to snow that you guys have been talking about, or rain, or whatever mess.
I know. Hunker down. You staying put?
No, my mother-in-law is 91, lives in Poughkeepsie. We usually go there on Christmas Day, so we should be clear by then. But it's not fun this time of year to have this kind of a mess and people going to be stuck at airports and on the highway, and it is what it is.
It's what it is. Well, settle a little debate for us, Mike. You of course, played in the 70s. Rob was asking the question about this Bruins team. When's the last time a Bruins team was the best team / most popular team in town? In the 70s, was that a no-brainer? Were you guys in?
Yes, we were. And we were, it was the lunch pail gang. It was a team you could identify with, you could be proud of, that showed up and played every night, and unfortunately just couldn't get it over the finish line. I mean, my first 3 seasons, we were in the Stanley Cup Finals, and then the Too Many Men on the Ice game, which was the semifinals. But we were so close, and we were a fun team to watch. We were a little bit swashbuckling and had more skill than people gave us credit for. It wasn't just, punch them in the face, although there was a little of that. But we won a lot of games, and was Don Cherry was coaching, and he was, as you know, as much fun as a coach can be. And whether it was in front of the microphone or behind the bench, it was just it was a very magical time in my life.
Well, to connect it with this team, Mike, do you ever think about that? Like, okay, we were so close those years. We were whatever you were missing. Obviously, Montreal was great, and you went up against some really good teams. What about this team do you think might be missing that could keep them from getting the final step, as you guys unfortunately were unable to get the final step in some of those years?
It's a great question. Like, I don't know if there's anything that is missing right now. I mean, I wonder if Bergeron and Krejci have the juice to get there at the end. I mean, you play 82 games, and they love to play, and they love to be in all situations, but, might be wiser to just, rest them. Could they use another, explosive forward? Yeah, I guess, but they've already got what appears to be an embarrassment of riches. I mean, Taylor Hall playing on the third line. I mean, that's an MVP in the league. To be on the third line is incredible. And there's depth. The defense probably could use a little bit more, I guess, in terms of depth, but nothing striking. They have 2 number 1 defensemen, in Lindholm and McAvoy, and their goaltending with Ullmark's, amazing not turnaround, but development. And Swayman looks better now. He's starting to feel a little more comfortable. I don't know what the hell they need in order to get it over the finish line, but except some good luck and good health. It's I think as you look around the league, there are teams that have been hot. Like, this is a streaky bunch of teams. Pittsburgh's hot, Toronto's hot, Tampa Bay is heating up. So they're going to have speed bumps along the way. But right now, I ask myself that question every day, Ken. Like, what do they need? What could they use? And other than maybe a utility defenseman, I don't have an answer to that. They've just been so consistently good. I mean, 19 games at home with a point is ridiculous. I mean, they're second in goals for, they're first in goals against, they're third on the power play, they're first in penalty killing. I mean, what more can you ask for?
So with that in mind, as we said, like this, I think it's the first time since the era that you talked about, Mike, where you guys dominated the city. I mean, you had the Patriots and Red Sox and Celtics, but not only were you winning, but you also had the identity of the city. That was the thing. You guys were the be-all, end-all. So this is the first time that I can remember since then where the Bruins have been able to take over the city. So what advice would you give them when you're walking out with your bell-bottoms and mink coats and feeling good about yourself and saying, I'm owning the city?
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize it's not going to happen every year. This is they've got magic in a bottle here, and they need to enjoy it and have fun with it. But stay focused, because that's why they're having success. They're being focused. They're being on top of their game. They had a little slippage, recently, but what the hell, 82 games. It's a long season. Those are a lot of games to play. And they're right back at it again. And you got a tough game tonight, by the way. Winnipeg is no slouch. They're a team that has, you're from Winnipeg, so you're never going to be the favorite team in the NHL unless you win 3 cups in a row. But they have some good players, and it's going to be a struggle. And again, tomorrow night against New Jersey, it's a couple tough ones in a row before they get to the holiday. So stay focused, enjoy it, and keep on laughing all the way.
Yeah, and take all the free meals you can right now, right?
Absolutely.
Mike, you talked about Ullmark's development. Are you worried at all or concerned at all that, he's already played 2/3 of the games. At this rate, is there any concern that he could burn out, or do you have to maintain kind of that? I know people hate this phrase, but the load management with Swayman, do you have to kind of maintain that for Ullmark going forward, especially at this point in the season where you still have so much to look forward to come playoff time?
This load management BS has been developing over the time now, but they put the gear on every day, and they should be able to play 60, 65 games. And I think now it's, it used to be you'd play that many and your backup would get 10 or 15, and that would be the end of it. But now it's load management, and I get it. There's more travel, there's more stress, but I think if he plays 55 to 60 games, he should be fine. And hey, listen, we came into this season thinking Jeremy Swayman was right there, was the heir apparent, not Linus Ullmark. And so you've got somebody else you can go to that you can feel comfortable with. And I really enjoyed seeing him play against Columbus when he tried to go for the open net and just missed it by a fraction.
Did you ever see one of those in your playing days?
I never was in a game where the goaltender scored against me or for me. But I saw some close calls, but there wasn't many closer than what Swayman is. But it spoke to me about his level of confidence. It was a 2-goal game. He could take a little bit of a risk, but still, here's a guy that was supposed to be playing at least 50-50 with Ullmark and is now sort of relegated to a backup role, and he still had the swagger to go for the moon. I liked it.
Speaking of swagger, Mike, one quote stood out to me that Jim Montgomery had during the Columbus game. He said between the second and third period, he told Bergeron, "It's your dressing room." He'd stayed out of there and just let him talk and address the guys. I guess probably coming off the L.A. loss where they blew the 2-0 lead. How common is that? Did that happen all the time when you played and coached?
I don't know that it happens all the time, but when you have a guy like Bergeron, you can hand it over. I can tell you a similar situation that I was in. We were playing Hartford in the playoffs, and we were the President's Trophy winners, best team in the league, and we were down 2-1 in Hartford and down 4-1 in the third period, going into the third period. And so I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to say to these guys? I gotta do something here to stir the pot or whatever. And so I thought about it, and I was ready to go, and I walked into the locker room, and there was Dave Poulin chirping at everybody. We're going to win this. We're coming back. And there was Gary Galley. We're going to do this. We're going to do it the right way. Cam Neely was. It was just like a chirp fest. And I said, I've got nothing to add here. I turned around and walked out the door, and they won. They came back in a miraculous fashion. And so I think it's just a matter of feel from the coach's standpoint, and that feel has to. And you get that feel really when you know the players. And that means you have to make a connection with them. You have to do that over time. And then when you have that connection, you understand what they're thinking and how they're feeling, and you can make a better read on the room. And so it's not common that the coach relinquishes sort of power or influence in the locker room, but it does happen, and it happens for a reason.
So one of the highlights of this last year for me on the radio, non-baseball related, was the interview that I got a chance to do with you last holiday season, Mike, reflecting on the going to the stands incident, which I thank you for. It made my day, it made my week, it made my year. You going through that. So in because we always like to advance conversations,
And tomorrow's the anniversary.
Tomorrow's the anniversary. Yep. The only thing I can think of that you didn't touch on when giving the answer was, where is the shoe? Where did the shoe end up?
The shoe was tossed onto the ice, and making him, go home with one shoe on and one shoe off, and it was probably the nastiest thing I did in the whole event. It was really, I just took it, I whacked him on the thigh and threw it on the ice, and then all of a sudden I'm an evil man for the rest of my life.
What are you talking about? You are the opposite of an evil man. You are a hero, and I know that it was a blur, it was a flurry of events, but did you get any sense of what kind of shoe it was? I mean, we could probably...
It was a cheap penny loafer by some
of course.
dumbass New Yorker.
One last hockey question before we let you go, Mike. The first power play, McAvoy, Lindholm, there's been some rotation there. Any concern about that? And McAvoy, really, he's had a good year, obviously, but only 2 goals. Do you need more out of him?
We've been talking about this magical Montgomery effect on getting defensemen into the play, but their production is not even on pace to get as many goals as they got last year.
Right.
But they make themselves available, and they're a threat. So I guess that's what counts. But McAvoy and Lindholm, they have nothing to worry about. There's no threat there. They might get a little squeamish about playing on the first or second unit, but as long as it's working, and as long as you're getting your candy time at some point or another, there's not much to worry about. When you're cooking at this kind of rate that the Bruins are cooking at, I mean, their winning percentage is greater than any team in the history of the NHL, at least for a full season. Whether they can make it a full season, certainly is questionable. But you don't have to worry about a little bit of extra ice time on the power play. It's just fun being part of a group that's rolling at this time of the year.
Well, Mike, now that I got my shoe answer and the good question, the next pertinent answer and question that I need is, it's been weighing on me. When Ken Laird came over to set up your equipment at your house, did you ask him to do any other task around the house?
No, I didn't feel he was equipped for anything more than plugging in the Comrex.
Mike is a gentleman. He's very, very hospitable. He showed me around. He gave me a little tour. It was great. Unbelievable. It was a highlight of my life.
Yeah. Listen, and it works great.
You sound great, which is all that matters.
Well,
the satellite dish you put on the roof, no, did that work as well? No.
Now, Mike, you're off next week, and then the next time you'll be on EEI, we're looking forward to it. It is our Winter Classic broadcast.
All right.
At Timeout Market. You're going to be on with Gresh for about an hour and a half, right? 11 a.m. or so?
You got it. I'm
looking
forward to it. They got a new, placement of the rink in the stadium, so it should be interesting. But, it's an event. It's a fun time, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's great to have you a part of it, and we appreciate your contributions all year. Hope you have great holidays and safe travels out to New York.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Same to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Merry Christmas. Mike Milbury here on the Harbor One Hotline.